You know, we hear the term global warming thrown around all the time, but what does it actually cost? I'm not just talking about icebergs and polar bears, I mean an actual real-world dollars and cents. In this explainer, we're going to put a price tag on a warmer planet.
So let's just dive right in with the big question. What's the real cost of just 1 degree of warming? It's a question that has a very specific and honestly pretty shocking answer, which we're going to get to in just a bit.
All right, first things first, let's talk diagnosis. To really understand the cost, we've got to get to the root of the cause. And on that front, the world's leading climate scientists have a very, very clear answer.
And here it is. This comes straight from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC. The science is totally settled on this. Human activities are, unequivocally, the cause. There's really no ambiguity left.
This chart really shows you what that warming looks like in the real world. That sharp upward hockey stick curve? That shows we've already hit 1.1 degrees Celsius of warming since the whole Industrial Revolution kicked off. And here's the thing that's really alarming. It isn't just that it's warming, it's the sheer speed of the change. The warming we've seen since 1970 has happened faster than any other 50-year stretch in at least the last 2,000 years. Okay, so to get a handle on where this is all going, we need to talk about a key concept called climate sensitivity. You can kind of think of it like the planet's thermostat. It tells us exactly how much the temperature is going to go up for a certain amount of CO2 we pump into the atmosphere.
So, we have our diagnosis, right? Now, let's look at the symptoms. What are the real-world effects of this warming that are already happening, like right now?
Whoa! Okay, this IPCC graphic is basically a global health report, and it's not looking good. I know it's a lot to take in at once, but every single one of these little icons represents a real, observed impact happening somewhere on our planet today. Let's just zoom in for a second. We're talking about damage to our cities and infrastructure from floods and wild weather, major threats to our food and water supplies, and direct hits on our own health from things like heat waves. Literally no corner of the globe is being left untouched. And the scary part is that some of these symptoms are actually getting worse faster. Just look at the rate of sea level rise. The speed has almost tripled in just the last few decades. That is a seriously dangerous trend, and believe me, these accelerating symptoms come with a very hefty price tag. Which, of course, brings us right back to our big question. What is the actual bottom line economic price of a warmer planet? Here it is. That's the number. Just take a second and let that sink in. So what does that number even mean? Well, according to a working paper from the National Bureau of Economic Research, a permanent 1-degree rise in temperature would slash global GDP per person by 22%. To put that into perspective for you, that's an economic blow that's like having a massive global financial crisis that just never, ever ends. So, with stakes this incredibly high, you have to ask, where are we headed? Let's take a look at the future we're on track to create right now. And this slide right here shows you the problem in a nutshell. On one hand, we've all globally agreed to a goal, limit warming to 1.5 degrees. But on the other hand, our current path, just based on the policies we have in place today, is taking us towards more than double that, over 3 degrees of warming. That's a huge, dangerous gap. But, there is still time to close that gap. So what's the prescription? What are the actual solutions? Now, the good news is we actually have the tools we need to avoid that catastrophic outcome. This chart from the IPCC shows a whole bunch of solutions that are available right now. And see those blue sections? Many of them are surprisingly affordable. Some of them actually pay for themselves over time. Let's just break that down a bit. The top 3 solutions with the biggest bang for your buck this decade are solar power, wind power, and something you might not expect, simply reducing how much food we lose and waste. I mean, together, these 3 are the real heavy hitters. So what's the game plan? Well, scientists have laid out a pretty clear 3-step path to get us to that 1.5-degree goal. First, make rapid and deep cuts to emissions in all sectors. Second, get the world to net zero CO2 emissions by the early 2050s. And third, use new technologies to clean up and remove any stubborn emissions that are left over. So look, we have the science, we are feeling the impacts, and we have the solutions. The core challenge, as the IPCC itself puts it, is making a transition of unprecedented scale. So the only question that's really left is, are we ready to make it happen?